All right, let's just get right into it. We're talking about a massive shift happening right now in software development, a real great refactoring. And it all kicks off with a pretty shocking statement.
Yeah, you heard that right. That's the core of this whole thing. And it is not subtle. We're not talking about a slow, gentle evolution here. The argument is that a core professional identity, something central to tech for decades, is already gone.
And just to really hammer it home, the point isn't that this change is on the horizon. It's that it has already happened. The ground is completely shifted under our feet, whether we've realized it or not. So if we're in the middle of a magnitude 9 earthquake, what does that actually look like day to day? Well, it means a total rewrite of how we create software. And more importantly, where our value as programmers even comes from anymore. This right here is the fundamental change. For, decades, a programmer's worth was often, informally measured by how much code they could crank out, lines of code, the sheer volume of bits. That whole model is just collapsing. The new value, the real value, is in how well you can architect and conduct these incredibly complex systems. It's about orchestrating intelligence, not just laying down syntax brick by brick. And this quote just nails it. Your job isn't about filling up a repository with your own code anymore. It's about making those critical, high-impact connections between these huge, almost autonomous systems. Think about that. Sparsity and density. You write less code, but the code you do write has to carry way, way more weight. So you have to ask, what's causing this earthquake? It's this new, incredibly powerful, and frankly, kind of weird layer of technology that's been dropped right into the middle of our stack. And you know what? It doesn't play by any of the old rules. The best way to think about it is like an alien artifact. It's unbelievably powerful, it can do things we thought were impossible, but it showed up with zero instructions. We're all just poking it with a stick, trying to figure out how it works and, how not to get zapped by it. And this comparison just lays the challenge bare. We grew up with tools like compilers. They're predictable, they're stable, you give them the same input, you get the exact same output, every single time. This new AI tool? It's stochastic, it's probabilistic, it's often a black box, and oh boy, does it make mistakes. It's a totally different kind of creative partner.
And to even talk about this thing, we need a whole new vocabulary. We've got agents and sub-agents doing work for us. Prompts are basically the new pointers. They're how we direct the AI's attention. Context is this volatile memory space we have to constantly manage. And we're even inventing new protocols, like a Model Context Protocol, or MCP, just to hook these alien minds up to the real world. And the failure modes? Totally new things, like hallucinations and just general brittleness.
You just have to appreciate the vibe here. This tool can solve a problem in 5 seconds that would have taken you all afternoon, and then it will confidently, charmingly invent a function call that has never existed. It's both a genius and a pathological liar, all at once. So all of this, it means the job itself has fundamentally been redefined. Your title might still say software engineer, but what you actually do all day, it's something else entirely. Let's just be blunt about it. That old identity of being a builder or a coder who just cranks out features, it's obsolete. You're a conductor now. Your whole job is to lead this orchestra of probabilistic players, knowing full well that any one of them could hit a wrong note at any second. Which means your workflow looks completely different. It's not just write a function anymore. It's managing this whole pipeline. You start by specifying your intent with absolute clarity. You delegate the grunt work to the AI. And then your real job starts, critiquing, verifying, and integrating that output with, and this is key, extreme prejudice. This is your new core competency. You can't just trust the output. You have to audit it. You have to instrument everything. You build guardrails around it. You check its work relentlessly, because at the end of the day, you, not the AI, are the one responsible for what actually gets shipped. Okay, so this all might sound a little scary. I get it. But here's the other side of the coin. This huge disruption, it isn't just a threat. It is one of the single biggest opportunities for leverage we have ever seen in this profession. This is the number you keep hearing, and for good reason. A tenfold increase in productivity, 10 times the output. Not because you're typing 10 times faster, but because you've learned how to effectively wield this incredibly powerful new tool. And that leverage isn't some science fiction promise for the future. It's here, right now. It's sitting on the table, just waiting. The only question is, who's going to pick it up and who's going to pretend it isn't there? And this This might be the toughest pill to swallow, but it's central to the entire argument. Choosing to keep working the old way, choosing to operate at that old 1x speed, that's not a personal preference anymore. It's a skill deficit.
Okay, so enough with the theory. How do you actually do this? How do you go from understanding the earthquake to actually surfing the wave? Let's make it super concrete. Here's a plan for your first hour tomorrow morning.
Here it is, your 90-minute ritual. Step 1. Pick a small, real, shippable target. Don't boil the ocean. Step 2. Write the spec for it like your life depends on it. Be precise. Step 3. Spin up different AI agents for different jobs. One to write the code, one to write the tests, one to act as a code reviewer. Step 4. You take their output and integrate it with ruthless verification. Trust nothing. And finally, this is the most important part, you capture that successful process so you can reuse it. You build your own leverage.
Look, this isn't about some heroic one-time effort. It's about building a new habit, a new discipline. This little ritual, this is the engine that creates compounding growth. It's the simple, repeatable process for closing that skill gap and actually grabbing that 10x potential for yourself. So as we wrap this up, let's just come back to the fundamental reality. This isn't a temporary storm that's going to pass. The ground is going to keep shaking. This chaos, this change, this is the new normal.
And that leaves every single one of us in this field with a really stark choice. The old way of doing things is breaking apart. You can either try to cling to the familiar pieces of rubble as they crumble, or you can learn how to ride the massive, chaotic, and powerful wave of this change. The instruction manual for this new world isn't going to be handed to you. You have to write it yourself. One workflow, one 90-minute ritual at a time. The time for sitting back and watching is over. It's time to roll up your sleeves and figure out how to hold this alien tool.